Hi, good morning. I'm gonna make a very quick video about my NHA CCA certification exam. I just passed my NHA CCMA certification exam and I am really happy because it is my first ever US certification. I am gonna talk a little bit about where I studied, what my educational background was before I took the test, and what really helped me pass the test. So first of all, I am an IMG, so I am an international medical graduate. Now that being said, I graduated in 2012 from Bangladesh, and everything that I studied at that time has been washed out because of working in the USA. Because since in the USA I don't have any scope of practice to practice as a physician, I have lost much of the medical knowledge that I had before I came here. So in the USA, I have worked several jobs, different jobs. Most of them are related to being a medical assistant. I was trained on the job. Even though I had the medical knowledge, I had to learn a lot of administrative things and a lot of clerical things that I did not know as a physician in Bangladesh. So like everything I was taught was on the job. Then in 2020, when COVID hit and my previous employer was really like, she was a terrible human being, and I quit the job. I got into the realization that I need a certification so I can find a job in the USA as a medical assistant without having to worry about quitting a job that is really toxic and that does not pay me like anything over the minimum wage. So I started googling and I found a trade school that I could afford, because I always had to think about the affordability and the time it took me to study, because I had to work full time to make the money so I could pay the school, and then I had to attend the school, so I had to find the shortest course I could find, like the shortest program I could find, and the least amount of money I could spend. So the place where I went to, now I live in New York, the place where I went to is called Institute of Career Continuity. It's in Battery Park in Manhattan. And it is a wonderful school, even though it's not very big, but the building is beautiful and the location is safe. The location is very scenic. The teachers are awesome. And there, at first I went as an EKG technician, and then I thought maybe I'm gonna switch and become a phlebotomist. So I added up the money and started doing that. Then I decided, nah, I want the full thing. I want to be a CCMA. So I spoke with the director, and she converted me into the CCMA program. And now then, like, after joining the class for about 10 days, COVID started, and we had to turn my school had to shut down the in-person class, and they took it online. They did not waste any time. They just smoothly transitioned into online classes, and the teachers were so good that online classes did not really interrupt my study. So I took my classes online, and that took me about 4 or 5 months. Then for the clinicals, I had to wait a bit because there were restrictions about doing the clinicals, but when the restrictions were lifted, I was able to do the clinical classes too. And they taught me like how to draw blood and how to do the EKGs, and they made sure that we really got the thing in, like it really sank in, and we practiced on each other, we practiced on the dummies. Since it was a COVID time, we could not practice as much as we would have liked, but we practiced enough. Then ICC placed me with a private practice, and there was a wonderful lady at the private practice who was the manager and the phlebotomist and the medical assistant. Like, there was only one doctor and one assistant who taught me how to draw blood, and she was such a wonderful lady. She taught me everything about drawing blood in real life, like in real life scenario. But after like going there for a few weeks, I applied to an eye clinic near my house, because I used to go to that eye clinic for my eyes. As you can see, I have very high myopia, so I have to go to the doctor every 6 months or 1 year. So I asked them like, hey ma'am, like I asked the director, since I have been coming here as a patient and I just completed my medical assistant school, can I do my internship, the rest of my internship at your place? And then if I'm good, if I am worthy, would you hire me? And she said, sure, you can do your internship there. So I did the rest of my internship at that place, and she signed all my paperwork, and then I submitted them to the Institute of Career Continuity, and then I started, and she hired me. So I started working at the eye clinic, and I stayed there for 1.5 years, which is the longest I've stayed in any practice. Because the thing is, my life goal is not to become a medical assistant. I am working as a medical assistant in the USA to survive, but my ultimate goal is to become a physician here as well. So after a while, I found a different opportunity, and I quit that place, the eye clinic, and I never ended up really taking my NHA CCMA exam. So like I went to work for another physician who is from my country, and who let me work remotely. However, the pay was really terrible, and it gave me the realization that if I don't get my certification, I'm never gonna get out of the rut. I will always have to settle for places that will not pay me the money I'm worth. And that's why I started studying for it. So when I was in ICC, Institute of Career Continuity, they gave me textbook for every class. Like for anatomy and physiology, they gave us, I think, the Pearson's Anatomy and Physiology. Then for the IT skills, they gave us the Microsoft 365 book. They gave us Pearson's billing book for the billing portion of the studies. Then they gave us Pearson's administrative assisting book, so we could know about scheduling and how to be an administrative assistant. So I had read those books while they were teaching us in the school, but this year I did not go through those books again because it was just too much, and it was really an online version of the book. I just didn't want to go through all the online books. I didn't have the time because I have to work full time too, right now. So yeah, I didn't go through the books again. What I did instead is I went to the NHA website and I purchased their study guide. I purchased the physical book. There are a lot of people who are very used to with the online book as good as they are with physical book. For me, physical books are better because I can mark them. So whenever I have to study something lightly, I can do with the digital books. But when I really want to study something, like dig in, like a text guide or a study guide, I usually go for the physical book. So I purchased this book a few months ago, but again, I did not get to study much because I started my billing classes and I had to study, and my dog was really sick. So everything came up all together, and I just skimmed through this book once. And then over a period of one day, I went through all the study questionnaires, like the practice exams in NHA website. Like when I purchased the study guide, I also purchased their practice exams. It was online. I could take it from my home. And those practice exams, I took them all in one day. The next day was my exam. After taking those tests, I was really confident that, hey, since I've like skimmed through the whole study guide and I have covered their practice tests, like NHA practice test, I'm really good. I can take this exam. I may pass. So the next morning, my exam was from home. It was an online proctored exam. And when I started like logging into that exam, there was a technical glitch. I made a video about it, like in details, how frustrated I was because that thing didn't work out. I wasn't able to take the test because there was a technical glitch. I couldn't take the test. I cried all day thinking, oh my gosh, something bad has happened. I may never be able to take that test again because I am now disqualified. Because in my mind, I always had the thought like it is like USMLE step 1. If you don't pass this test once, you are kind of doomed. Not really, but kind of doomed, because the people at the residency who are supposed to hire you may never hire you because you like failed it once, or you did not qualify for it once, or you got absent in it once, all those kind of things. That's why I was very upset. I cried all day. I called NHA, I called PSI several times, and after a few days of me doing an appeal, I filled out a form and I did the appeal. They allowed me to take the test. Like my end date was July 15. I had to take the test within July 15. So I scheduled a day. This time I went to Reddit and I read that it's not safe to take this exam like as online proctored because often there's a technical glitch. So this time I chose a place where I could physically be present, and I chose a nearby location. However, a few days before the exam, I was so busy with my work and studying and my billing classes, I did not see how sick my dog was, and I had to put her down on July 1st. And after that, I was so shocked that all I did was do my work and cry, do my work and cry. I could not study at all. Then 2 days before my exam, I've been hearing about a course called Smarter MA, and I thought it was a gimmick. I did not purchase their questionnaire. But then 2 days before, I was really desperate and I was wondering, maybe it's not that bad. Like, I was feeling really desperate and I purchased it for $89, the whole questionnaire set. So there were 3 practice exams and then there were like 3 qualified exams. I took only 2 practice exams. I could not even take anything else. I did not have time. Over 2 days I took 2 practice exams from Smarter MA, and I appeared at my test 2 days ago from now. And I'm so glad that I purchased Smarter MA, because everything I studied from the study guide, I like skimmed through. There was so much, because there are so many lines for one bit of information that sometimes it's very easy for us to miss the information. And NHA practice exams don't really prepare a student for the real test. However, the Smarter MA and their questions, their explanation, their videos, they are so resourceful. They will really prepare you. My best idea, like, if I had more time, if I had 5 days, I would go through all the questions and I would go through all the qualified exams, but I didn't have the time for that. So I just went through 2 practice exams, and that was enough to make me pass this test. Like, it's been 48 hours since I took the test, and I've been calling NHA and PSI asking, hey, where's my result? Because I'm really anxious. I was afraid that I was going to fail, because I know some questions I did not answer maybe correctly. There was a question about above the knee amputation of a patient, and where I would have to place the lead for the left limb and the right limb. And I honestly don't know the answer, so I just answered left one on the left mid thigh, right one on the right mid thigh. Then there was a question about there being a fire and you get a fire extinguisher. What do you do first? Like, do you pull the pin and then squeeze, or you squeeze and pull the pin, or you put it on the like aim the extinguisher at the top of the fire? Those kind of things I did not even go through, so I just answered them anything I could, because a wrong answer is better than a no answer in a test like that. So I just went with my gut with some answers. And like, I just, this morning I was really anxious. I was afraid that I was going to fail, because with my dog's death, everything is going down the drain. It feels like, because when you lose your best, when you lose someone who is your biggest support, you kind of lose a balance of your life. And I'm really trying to find the balance back. So I projected all my grief towards my studying right before the exam. But was that enough for me to pass the exam? Well, turns out it was enough. 2 days of study with the Smarter MA, and I passed the test. So I imagine if you study it like for a good time, take a month and study it, you might get like real good score. I got a 433, but there's a possibility that a person can get a 500, right? So passing with 500 is the best, right? But I'm happy that I passed. Despite all that I've been through over the last few weeks, and especially with my dog's passing, I think this is one good thing that could really cheer me up. So yeah, I'm not really feeling happy, because I don't think I can feel happy about anything for a long time. The grief is so profound. But I feel relieved that I will never have to worry about being in the USA and not finding a job, or a proper job as a medical assistant, because I don't have certification. Because guess what? I have a certification now. I have texted my instructor, I've texted my school, I've texted my sponsor, and my other study partner, and I let them know that, hey, I passed. And now I'm not afraid of being in the USA anymore, because I have a certification. I have to renew it time and time again, but at least I am not like somebody who doesn't have any educational qualification in the USA and who can just be exploited just because they don't have a certification. So my best bet, if you want to be a medical assistant, please do get the certification. It will open up your job opportunities, and it will make sure that your rights as an employee is not violated. Okay, that's all I had to say. So my study resources were my school, my NHA study guide, and Smarter MA. If you can't do anything else, do Smarter MA. If you get qualified to take the test, without you being in a school, I don't know if it's possible, but if it's possible, Smarter MA is enough. And thank you so much for those who made the Smarter MA. Thank you for making my dream come true. Thank you for making me pass. Without you, I couldn't have done it. Thank you, Smarter MA. Thank you and take care. Thank you for watching my video. Bye.